Hey, I'm Joe Lally. I discovered running, I think, kind of late in life, late-ish in life, maybe my late 30s, and ran my first marathon at 40, and I'm gearing up for my sixth in a few months. Uh,
Great. And so what caused you to find the balanced runner?
I had just completed my fourth marathon. I ran the Chicago Marathon, and I had pretty rough training leading up to it just because of schedules and timing. But I ran the race, and after the race, a couple weeks off, and then when I returned to running, I had this horrible pain in the left side of my knee that I'd never felt before, and uh, researched a lot. Discovered it was probably my IT band or the bottom end of the IT band. And I tried everything I knew how to do, and none of it worked. So I did a lot of research online, and I found one of your articles that I felt like was written for me that day. It was kind of about the the issue I was having and just a different approach than I had tried. So I reached out. Yeah.
Great. So you reached out to me,
Yeah.
but in that time between when you found me and when you reached out, did you have any moments of like misgivings? Was there anything
Yes.
yeah. What were your misgivings?
I did. My honest first reaction was, even though I felt like the article really kind of hit home and what I was doing, I questioned it. I said, "H- how could this work?" I had tried all sorts of other methods, rolling and stretching and icing and everything else that, seems more commonplace. And I was a little bit sort of hesitant and unsure, but at the same time, I was also completely at my wit's end. I was desperate. I mean, I had tried everything and nothing else had worked. I'd reached a point where a month prior I'd finished a marathon, and now I couldn't even run down to the end of my street because of this pain. So I was almost, in retrospect, I was almost grateful that I was so desperate at the time, because I don't know if I would have reached out to you if I hadn't been, because I might have said, I don't know if that could really work. So, yeah,
Right. Yeah. To take a step outside the box can
yeah,
be a very
yeah,
good thing.
yeah.
Awesome. So, but you did.
I did. Yeah.
Well, first, why don't you tell me like what was the result of that? What happened with your IT band?
Yep. So we started working together, and it started with you gave me a program. First, you asked me a lot of questions about just my running history and down to shoe brands and all sorts of things. I recorded some videos of myself. Um, so the process felt, really in depth to me. Seemed like you were really gathering a lot of information about me in particular, and that was encouraging because it didn't feel like this sort of cookie cutter approach that I don't know if I was expecting, but I thought could happen. So we started working together. I was doing a lot of the floor routines, floor exercises that you assigned, and I want to say maybe 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. After we started doing that, and after I started um, doing the exercises, I went out for a run, and I think it was only 2 or 3 miles, and it was the pain was gone, which I didn't believe. I just was like, I should just keep running; it'll come back, won't it? And but it didn't. So that was pretty amazing. And we continued to work together after that for a while, and I started ramping back up my running while I was doing all of the exercises that you were recommending. And I also noticed I got faster. So I was noticing that for the same level of perceived effort that I knew, I was, 20 to 30 seconds faster on my pace, and that I totally didn't expect. My goal was to just get back to running and have this injury go away, but the speed was really really nice to see.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, Yeah, I mean, sometimes the speed comes even before people feel better if they can run like you
Yeah,
like really couldn't because of your pain. So you
right.
wouldn't
I was
notice that.
totally
Yeah.
unable to run, which was so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
Yeah,
that big contrast between what you could do just a few weeks before and then yeah, the
yeah,
pain. But you know, it it's all the same process. Like there was something that you were doing to get in the way of your ability to run balanced such that there was no stress or strain on your IT bands and no pain.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
same thing was also making you slower.
yeah,
And when you stopped doing it and became more balanced, then the speed that was always would have been appropriate for your fitness was there that had you maybe never been there before.
yeah.
So, I mean, this is really a typical result. And it's people often think, well, first I have to get out of pain, then
Right.
I have to train more, and then I'll get faster. And if my form's good, well, that's going to be good for my speed. But don't
Yeah,
realize actually your form has been holding you back
right.
in ways more
Yeah,
than yeah pain
yeah,
has.
yeah.
So yeah, that's great. So was there anything else other than the speed that you got out of the
Hmm.
program that you hadn't been expecting?
Um, I think something that I still do this now when I run, I almost felt like I was more aware of how I was running when I was running and could pretty quickly correct something if it was feeling a little bit off, kind
Mhm.
of in the moment. Where I might feel a little twinge or a little maybe too much effort in a certain area, and I feel like there are quick sort of subconscious, sort of conscious. I mean, it's hovering somewhere in between,
Yeah.
just things that I'm able to do where I can kind of quickly, get myself back to a little bit freer flowing motion. And I lean on that all the time. So yeah, even yesterday during my run, I felt, a little bit of, we should talk about my Achilles thing too.
Oh,
But I
okay.
felt a little bit of a twinge and, sort of just got back into my flow, and that went away while I was running. So
Oh, that's great. That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. So, and this is like, I was going to say it's been almost a year since we finished our work. So
Yeah, that's
but
right.
you're still finding that you can do that, a year later. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a skill that you now have.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Great. And then, so what's your running been like since we finished?
Yeah, so that was, like you said, about a year ago. And at the time, I had a few half marathons that I was sort of like putting as markers on the calendar. And then my plan was to run a December marathon. And, I was able to train for that. The training for that was so different than the Chicago one. The Chicago one just felt like, and this was the one I ran before we worked together. The Chicago one, the training just felt like every day was a struggle. I just, was like gritting my teeth through the whole training. And the training for the December one was not like that. It was enjoyable, and I felt good and strong and fast, and started training a lot faster, um, and just putting a lot more speed work that I felt like I had access to. And the marathon went amazingly well. I beat my fastest time by almost 10 minutes.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
yeah.
That's great.
Um, and pain free at the end, and smiling. I was smiling on mile 26. Yeah. Um, and it was great. And there was one moment during that training leading up where I was putting in some really serious miles training wise, and I did start to feel this pain in my Achilles. And I went back to some of the exercises, and I think it's free your feet
Mhm.
is the one. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I think I even emailed you about this at the time. And I did free your feet maybe two or three times, because it was to the point where I was able to run, but it was the times in between the running where I just felt, it would really tighten up.
Yeah.
And that that routine, after doing that two or three times, the pain kind of went away. So yeah, and then didn't come back. So yeah,
That's
yeah, I
great.
think I had just gotten whatever I was doing, I had gotten a little bit out of rhythm, and that helped me
Mhm.
get back into it.
Mhm. Yep. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So you have anything on the calendar now? Anything you're
I
training for?
do. Yeah, I'm running New York in November. A couple of halves that are on the calendar between now and then, but that's the big one.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So if you met a runner in the same sort of situation you were in after that Chicago Marathon, your IT
Yeah.
band, you couldn't run at all, what would be your recommendation to that person? Would you recommend the
Yeah.
balanced runner?
I mean, I would. I had a great experience with it. I think the thing for me was it was treating the cause and not the symptoms. And I think a lot of things I was doing were treating the symptoms. Um, so I'm just big on let's fix this thing permanently, and I think that would be my advice. I mean, I'd probably say do what is working for you, um, but consider this because hey, maybe you don't need to do all those other things if you just fix it permanently.
Mhm.
Um,
Super.
so yeah, yeah,
Great. Well, thank you very much.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you.